Hi, my name is Cynthia. Today I'm going to be talking about parrots. I'm going to be talking about the danger to human beings being around parrots. The number one problem with parrots is a disease called psittacosis. Anytime you buy a parrot, you should immediately take it to a vet and have it tested for psittacosis. That is a disease that we can get into our lungs and can hurt us, and it's something that you do not want to have anybody exposed to that. And it's called parrot fever is what can happen to it. And you can, again, it's dangerous to humans, and a lot of people are afraid of parrots for that reason, because over the years parrot fever was pretty common before they figured it out. And there's really nothing that I know of that you can do to save a parrot from having that. You just have to isolate it from other parrots and from you. And it's very contagious. So if you bring a new bird into your environment and you haven't tested it and it has psittacosis, it can spread it to the other parrots. And you don't want that to happen, because you don't want to have to put those other parrots down or end up having them die from that terrible disease. Another danger to human beings is biting. Now, parrots bite in the wild. Parrots bond for life with another parrot, male, female. Well, sometimes males and males, females, but most of the time it's male and female. And when they are in the wild and they're sitting up in a tree and there's a hawk, let's say, going around, one of them is always looking out for danger. And if that parrot sees that danger, they will turn to their significant other and bite them. Now, if you ever had a parrot, you find they're very fluffy. They have a lot of feathers on them, and they got to go a long way to feel their body. So when they bite another parrot, it's not hurting them at all. It just nips them, and then that parrot will fly away to get away from that danger. Now, if you have a parrot and you like to have that parrot sit on your shoulder, you can be that significant other to that parrot. So when danger comes into the room, let's say a dog runs into the room barking, or let's say a kid runs into the room screaming and yelling, it scares the parrot. The parrot can turn and bite you in the face or bite you anywhere else. It's not because it's a nasty bird. It's protecting you from perceived danger. So be careful whenever you put a parrot on your shoulder. You should really know that parrot very well. Know that it's not afraid of those kind of noises. And even if you do, well, just beware of any dangers that could happen, that you could get bit. Now, parrots can also bite you on your fingers, on your hands. I read an article about large parrots can really cut off your finger. However, when they catch the birds in the wild, the people wear heavy gloves, but there's very rarely anybody that caught these birds have lost fingers. They tend to just bite to keep you away, scare you away. So their bites are not that bad most of the time. But beware, they can do major damage to your hand, and you can bleed quite a bit. The small ones are just as bad in a way as the big ones, because they like to bite just around your nails, which bleed, or at the puffy part of your fingers on the bottom, and they bleed, and they can hurt just as bad as the big ones. Actually, I think the little ones hurt more than the big ones. But beware of biting by parrots, and they can hurt you. And I don't know of anybody dying per se from a bird bite. However, if you don't stop the bleeding, I guess you could bleed to death. Another thing, birds bite because they're not socialized properly. So when you get your parrot, make sure that it's handled by as many people as you can, and you handle it every day if you can, to keep it tame, because that will help keep it from being type of biting bird that you don't want to have around anybody. Now, another thing, parrots are dangerous to us because of allergies. If you know somebody has COPD, most of the parrots put out a dust, not all of them, but a dust. And the dust protects them when they're in the wild because of rain keeps them from getting soaked by rain. If they live in a forest like macaws in Peru, it rains a lot, so that they put out a dust to protect them. That dust coats everything in your house, and you're going to end up dusting a lot and cleaning because of that. If that bothers you, don't get a parrot. But there's some that don't put out dust. Amazons don't put out dust, but African greys do, and cockatoos, big time, put out a dust. And if you're allergic to dust, that will bother you. I had a friend who loved parrots, was a member of our bird club for many years. He developed COPD and had to get rid of all his parrots. Just about killed them, but he had to do it because the doctor wouldn't allow him to have them around. So beware of that. You can't have a parrot around if it's the type that has dust because of your allergies. Another danger to people is improper handling. You got to know how to handle them. Learn to have them step up. Sorry about my parrot in the background. Learn to step up on your finger, and if they're on a cage that's higher than you, you're in danger because they will bite you. If they have to be below you in order to for you to pick them up, and without them being bit by them. If they're higher than you, they are in control over you, and they will bite you. Well, maybe not always, but there's a danger that you will get bit if they are on that higher part of the cage, or if they're on a ceiling or something up higher than you and you're trying to get them down. You could get bit by them because they're up higher, higher than your head. You want them below your head, below your shoulders if possible. Another thing is, after you handle a parrot, make sure you wash your hands. They are very clean animals. They take baths all the time, but you should wash your hands anytime you handle any parrot. I don't care whether you know that it doesn't have any diseases whatsoever. Wash your hands. Just like if you pet your dog or cat and you go to eat something, wash your hands. Always do that around parrots. Another problem with parrots are they have cage aggression. If they don't come out of their cage very much, they will bite you if you try to get them out of the cage, because that cage is their territory and you're entering into their territory. So part of that is to keep them socialized. Again, handling them on a regular basis will keep them hopefully tamer. And if you have to, use a perch to get them out of the cage, but you could get bit by them because of that cage aggression. Now, another problem is to human beings. If that bird has had any past trauma or abuse, and let's say you bought a parrot that is older and you don't know anything about it, it could have that abuse and trauma. So be careful when you're handling that bird until you know it very well, that it could result in a bite from you because it's afraid of people's hands. A lot of times birds are hit by people with their hands. Bad, they shouldn't be hitting your bird at all, but if that bird has had that problem in the past, it will bite a hand that comes anywhere near it. Now, how do you know when the parrot might bite? One of the things that they ruffle their feathers, they're on the sides and on the top, their eyes dilate. Amazons especially will dilate. You see their eyes dilate. Beware, you could get bit. Another thing is certain times of the year, they sexually are aroused. Amazons, springtime. I don't touch my Amazon in springtime until summer because it could bite you because of that sexual feeling that they have at that time. Another thing, they can do vocal cues too. They can cluck, cluck, cluck where they're afraid of you. And they can do a guttural growl, kind of. Beware of that. I wouldn't mess with a bird that's doing that. Also, the upright position, if they stand up high and they're afraid. When in the wild, if an animal comes anywhere near them, they fluff out. They scare them away. And if you see that happening, let that animal, that parrot, calm down a little bit before you mess around with them. Now, those are just a few of the dangers to human beings. I'm sure there's other ones, and if I'll have probably a part 2 down the road with other dangers to you. And if you do get any tips from this, give me a thumbs up if you liked them. And if you want more information about parrots, they're one of my favorite topics. Subscribe to my channel. I try to download a new video every Monday, and I'm going to have other videos about parrots down the road. I hope you come back and visit with me, okay? Come back. Bye now.